Team Rivalry Reaction.
All right, how's it going, Big Ten football fans? This is Mackenzie, and I have another Big Ten East Division preview coming at you. This time we're going to be looking at the Michigan State Spartans, and interesting team, Michigan State. You know, they had a really bad 2020, a really, really good 2021, and then a really bad 2022. So, is this going to be the start of 2023, or maybe a sign of things to come? Maybe not looking so hot for 2023. Well, that's a question that we're going to hopefully have an answer to by the end of this video, which should be within the next 5 or 6 minutes. Hopefully. In any case, Michigan State, not so hot on defense last year, bit inconsistent on offense as well, but it was defense specifically that they struggled with. They were the worst defense, which is what I just said. Jeez. They were the worst defense in yards per play allowed in the Big Ten. But they did bring in a couple of transfer additions. They've got specifically up on the defensive front, they brought in some transfer additions, which, in my opinion, doesn't make a whole lot of sense because it was the linebacking core that needed some help. However, they do have linebacker edge rusher Jacoby Windman coming back, so they do have some experience coming back on defense, especially in the secondary. Well, maybe not especially in the secondary, but a bit in the secondary. But that's probably where I would have focused my transfer portal additions if I felt like the defense was really in need of something like that. Do they have any? Let's see here. In terms of 2023 recruits, it looks like they do have a defensive end and then an interior linebacker and then a couple more defensive ends coming in. So they have, and again, that's an emphasis on the defensive front, but not a whole lot going on in the secondary. I can't see the entire list of recruits, which we went through recruiting in another video. So you can take a look at that if you want. But in any case, for this particular video, I'm not seeing a huge emphasis on the secondary, which could put this team at a disadvantage yet again, especially against some high-flying offenses in the Big Ten. A lot of these offenses are starting to become pass-first offenses. Ohio State definitely led the way in that, and we saw what Ohio State can do against a defense that can't stop anything. So that was 2022, right? Yep, 2022. Boom. Especially through the air. So that being said, just looking at their 2022 season, they started off 2-0. They had the dominating victory over Akron, but then just fell apart against Washington. Kept falling apart, got blown out. Managed to beat Wisconsin, but Wisconsin was also having a down year themselves. And this was a good win, too, in double OT. So solid win for Sparty there. Didn't do a whole lot against Michigan. Michigan was definitely just playing on cruise control or something. They were experiencing some offensive sputterings, or this could have been a lot worse. Illinois, man, surprising team last season. And then Rutgers, they only beat Rutgers by one score, which is difficult for them. And then they just dropped the last two of the season. So 2023, knowing that you've got some offensive production in Peyton Thorne coming back, he has 16 touchdown passes. He does have 11 interceptions, though, so needs to be a bit more careful with the ball. And then also bringing in a couple of transfer portal additions in the running back room, which is interesting because I believe Jalen Berger was already a transfer portal addition from Wisconsin, so they clearly thought that they needed a little bit more help there. And maybe they did. I mean, they only managed about 3.8 yards per carry last season. However, to me, Jalen Berger was not. Jalen Berger is not a bad running back, but I wonder if the offensive line maybe had a few holes that need to be patched up. And so I'm kind of curious to see if Mel Tucker's portal strategy here is going to help them through 2023, because I'm not sure that he's really addressing the needs on his team. And maybe he's kind of just taking whatever he can get, which maybe that is all he can get, and maybe he will be able to fashion it into something that works. Or maybe I'm just completely wrong about what this team needs, but if it's me, I'm thinking they probably needed some help in the defensive secondary, not the defensive front, and then they probably needed some help on the offensive line, not the running back room. That's just my opinion, though. But looking at their 2023 schedule, let's see what we got here. So we've got Central Michigan and then Richmond. That's probably a pretty solid 2-0 start. I can see a world. Central's actually beaten State, and that was probably 10 to 13 years ago or so. I can't remember exactly, but Central has beaten State within the last 20 years. So you can't overlook the Chippewas. Richmond's, they're going to beat Richmond. Washington. This is where I have some bad news for Sparty fans. I think Washington wins this game. And because I think Washington is going to be better this season than they were last season. Now, admittedly, Big Ten fan, Big Ten channel, don't know a ton about the Pac-12, soon to be the Pac-10, and eventually after that, the Mountain West Pacific Division. Washington, from what I understand, could be a better team than they were last season, which to me makes this a loss. Maryland, this is going to be an interesting game. I think this is your litmus test to see where the Spartan team really is for 2023. Win this game, and you're probably going to a bowl game because you've still got Rutgers, and then you do have Indiana left on the schedule. Nebraska's a wild card, probably a win for Sparty. But if Michigan State doesn't beat Maryland, then you're not beating Iowa. You're still probably going to beat Rutgers. You're not beating Michigan. You're not beating Minnesota. You might beat Nebraska. You're not beating Ohio State. And you're not beating Penn State. Which brings me to the following. We got 1, 2, let's call this a win, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins for Sparty. So at best, I would predict a 6-6 season with a bowl game. At worst, I could see 4-8. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Rutgers and Indiana being 3 and 4. So at worst 4-8. At best 6-6. I would definitely like to be surprised when Michigan State is good and Michigan beats them. It makes me all the happier. So surprise me, Sparty. Show me what you got. If you like this video, go ahead and actually like the video down there on YouTube. If you think my takes are complete trash, well, feel free to let me know. But if you like my takes, maybe also let me know because I do enjoy that encouragement. Maybe also give the channel a sub. That might be kind of nice too. That would be kind of neat. In any case, whatever you do, we're gonna publish another video next week, and hopefully we'll see you there. Thanks for listening.